Welcome to the Chad Slagle Show, coaching you to and through retirement, where planning meets purpose. Chad Slagle isn't just a financial professional, he's a coach dedicated to helping you take control of your financial future. With years of experience guiding families towards secure and fulfilling retirements, Chad is here to empower you with the tools, strategies, and confidence to make smart decisions with your hard-earned dollars. Coaching you to and through retirement isn't just his promise, it's his passion. This is the Chad Slagle Show. Now, let's hear from the coach.
Welcome to the Chad Slagle Show. I'm Amy Sharp. Joining me is the coach, Chad Slagle. He is the president and founder of Slagle Financial. Today, we're diving into an essential but often overlooked topic, legacy planning. Your legacy is about more than just money. It's about ensuring your family is cared for and your values live on. Chad is with me once again. Chad, it's always good to have you here, no matter what the topic is, but this one, it just feels a little more deeper and more important. People need to pay attention to this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And we don't want to think about it, right? When we talk about legacy planning, and of course that means passing away and losing loved ones, you know, it's uncomfortable to think about, but it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of work to get all this in order. That's the other thing that's uncomfortable. People, you know, you just want to put it off like everything else. But like with anything worthwhile, sometimes you have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations to get to a better place and to give yourself peace of mind. But most important of all, to give your family peace of mind as well, knowing your wishes down the road. And this is something, once you do the work on the front end, and if you do it right, the most important of all, your family will not have to worry about it. So it's something that you have to do, uncomfortable, but you're better off to get it ahead of time, as opposed to waiting till something happens and then doing it, because then we start reacting with emotion. You definitely don't want to do that.
Absolutely. One tool we talk about a lot here on this show is life insurance. How does life insurance, or how can it go beyond just being that death benefit tool that we set when we kind of are young and we get married and we're just kind of having it in case something happens? It can be used for something different here.
It can. When most people hear life insurance, they think it's just a check that their family gets when they pass away. But the truth is, the right type of life insurance, properly structured, can play multiple roles in retirement plan. You know, and the one way that we view it is life insurance, when done right, is not an expense. It's a multi-tool for retirement, tax planning, and eventually a legacy. You know, we use it strategically to replace pensions or Social Security if one spouse passes away, to reduce future tax burdens, to create guaranteed wealth transfer, also to fill that big unknown long-term care gaps, and to build, hopefully, tax-free income layers, not only for you, but also for your beneficiaries.
This is something that a lot of people, like you said, we don't want to talk about it, we don't want to think about it, but we need to make this a priority as we're setting our plan in place. For your team, it's this putting this GPS together. You're bringing that into this conversation for sure.
Yeah, you definitely want, like with anything, you need to have a systematized process of everything that you do. So when we talk about that, you know, legacy planning must be a cornerstone, in my opinion, must be a cornerstone of every retirement plan. We believe retirement isn't just about making your money last, it's about making your impact last. You know, you worked hard and built a life that you're proud of. Legacy planning ensures that everything that you've built, all those blood, sweat, and tears that built this asset, this legacy, this estate that you have, your values, your wealth, and your story carries forward with purpose. It's not just about what you leave behind, but how you leave it. You know, without a thoughtful plan, you're leaving things to chance, and that's not a blueprint that anybody wants to follow. And again, I think about my kids. I'm going to make this as simple as possible because we're a very close family. If something happens to me or my wife, it's going to devastate them, and the last thing I want them to have to do is worry about estate taxes or estate planning or legacy or long-term. I don't want to have to worry about any of that, and it's our responsibility to do the planning ahead of time.
And you and I have had this conversation. We, you know, 4 kids, I have 3 kids. Very important that I leave to them a legacy and an amount of money that whatever is left over. Some people go along and they're like, you know, I'm not leaving my kids anything. They're on their own now. Do I really need to have a legacy plan? But then the grandchildren come around, right?
Yeah, right.
So things change.
Absolutely. You know, one thing I talk about in the workshop all the time is I bring up legacy, and people are in the back like, you know what, my kids are in a lot better situation than we were at their age. We're going to spend all this money, and that's fine. But if there's anything left in those accounts, when you and your spouse decide to walk out on life, I'm sure you would much rather that money go to your children, your grandchildren, or your charities or your churches, as opposed to the government or the nursing home. And the only way to do that, to make sure that's done when you're gone, is by planning ahead of time.
And that is, you brought up churches or any other charitable giving that we want to do. There are so many options out there now that some people don't have children. They're not going to leave, or they're not going to leave it to their children. We do have other places we might want to give our money, and that fits into the legacy plan.
And there's so many good charities, your churches, so many other places to give to. I mean, I'm going to give it to my kids and make sure it's set up properly, hopefully, and my grandkids down the road. But yeah, there's a lot of charities out there that you can give to that are really going to change people's lives. And that's actually something that we do at our firm. We set up our own 501c3, Teaming Up for Good, because there are people out there that need our help. There are charities that are good that need our help, maybe more so than maybe your kids or grandkids. So you make sure that you may want to set a pool of money up, or a bucket of money up, if you will, for those charities or those churches.
I'm glad you brought up Teaming Up for Good, because I think that is such a great thing. You're not just helping people with their money, you're out in that community doing well as well.
Yeah, I just think it's our responsibility as small business owners in the communities that we do business in to be able to give back. And that's something that we started a few years ago, and it's something that, our team comes together, and it's something that we can do to help the communities that we do business in. So we love it.
Okay, we're off to a great start. Thank you so much. We have much more to come. After the break, we'll talk about dealing with the retirement wild card and planning ahead for the next generation with smart tax strategies. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Chad Slagle. At Slagle Financial, we know retirement isn't one size fits all, and it shouldn't feel like guesswork. That's why we created our Slagle Financial GPS, a step-by-step process that helps you build a custom blueprint for retirement. Whether you're focused on protecting your income, leaving a legacy, or simply gaining peace of mind, we'll walk with you every step of the way. Don't leave your future to chance. Schedule a visit with our team, and let's get you successfully to and through retirement.
They say knowledge is power. Whatever you're doing, whatever your goals are, you'll probably never say you know too much. The same is true with retirement. The more you know, the more prepared you'll be for everything in store. And we've made it easy to get started. This free offer is packed with knowledge to help answer some of retirement's biggest questions. It's our gift to you. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Act now and claim your free offer today.
Welcome back to the Chad Slagle Show. I'm Amy Sharp. Chad Slagle is here to help you build a secure and impactful legacy plan. It's so important. And one of the biggest wild cards in retirement has to be long-term care. Let's spend some time talking about that part of our legacy plan. A lot of people don't plan for this, do they? A
lot of people don't plan for it because, again, just like we talked with legacy planning or anything else, it's an uncomfortable situation. But we all know of someone in our family, mother, father, grandmother, grandfather, somebody that has went through this. And it's something, in my opinion, you want to make sure you have the best care for the later years in your life. So you have to do some planning. So, because in my opinion, there's three things that can kill your retirement: market risk, taxes, and long-term care. And the long-term care is one that most people do not protect themselves from, even though 1 out of every 2 people, the stats show us, will need some type of long-term care. So why does this matter? Number one, long-term care isn't cheap. Home health care today is anywhere from $5,000 to $6,000 a month, depending on where you live. A nursing home or nursing facility would be $8,000 to $10,000 a month or more. And Medicare doesn't pay for it. And most people are shocked to find out that after it's too late that these things aren't paid for. Well, where's all this money going to come from? Then they're selling houses, then they're selling their estates, then they're selling farms to be able to do this, because it can drain your retirement very quickly. Even a few years of care can wipe out decades of savings, especially if it happens during a market downturn. Imagine you lose 20 to 30% in the market, and then all of a sudden you got to go and draw out $10,000 a month each and every month as the market's dropping just to pay for that. And if you're drawing from qualified accounts, it's all taxable income. So you definitely want to make sure that you're doing some kind of planning.
I'm guessing so many people have no idea what a long-term care facility could add up to in terms of expenses. You just saying $10,000 a month. I'm guessing people right now, their eyes are like, what?
Well, in some places, depending on where you live, or even more. And most people don't think about it unless they've been through it before. Or until it's too late, then they want to start doing some planning. And then, Crisis planning does not work. So you need to make sure you plan ahead. And again, these uncomfortable talks you need to have and you need to plan for before it happens.
Okay, let's transition to some tax conversation here. This idea of Roth conversions being used as a strategy to plan for the next generation as well. What do you say about that?
Well, a Roth conversion is when you move money from a pre-tax IRA or a qualified account, a company plan, into a Roth IRA, and you pay taxes on it now. But once you pay tax on that money, now it grows tax-free. You never pay tax again on that money, and your heirs do not have to pay tax on that either. So there's a lot of benefits of moving that money to a Roth conversion, but a lot of people get scared. They get freaked out because they think, oh my gosh, I'm going to go into a 401k or company plan or my IRA before I even need it, and I'm going to pay tax on that money. Well, you're going to be a lot better paying taxes now as opposed to 5 to 10 years down the road. And when you do it, it's done. And now all the growth you're going to get on that money that you put in the Roth IRA is now all tax-free for you, but also for your beneficiaries as well.
It's this proactive idea of looking forward and kind of, pay on the seed now, if you will, and not on the crop.
Yes,
It's actually
right. Yeah, you have to, with all the stuff that we're talking about here today, you have to be proactive, put yourself in an uncomfortable situation and do it. And most people think a Roth IRA as a personal retirement income tool, but there's a huge legacy advantage to it too. Inherited IRAs are now tax bombs. With the new Secure Act that was passed, non-spouse beneficiaries must empty inherited IRAs within 10 years. That multi-generational IRA, or that idea of being able to stretch the IRAs that you leave to your beneficiaries over their lifetime, is completely gone now, and they pay tax on every dollar that they draw out. So if your kids inherit $1 million during their peak earning years, they could be bumped into the highest tax bracket, losing hundreds of thousands of dollars to Uncle Sam. So think about this. Let's say you have 2 children, and let's say you leave those 2 children $1 million of taxable income above and beyond the income they're currently making. Going to throw each one of them in the highest tax bracket, depending on what state they live in. They're going to lose 40% of that money. So 40% of that money's gone. You have 60% left. Who just became the largest beneficiary of your retirement accounts?
Yeah.
The IRS. And it happens all the time. But if you do a little planning, it allows you to leave that money to your beneficiaries tax-free.
So many people don't even realize taxes right now, kind of on sale, actually. It's kind of a good deal right now.
That's another reason you want to convert to a Roth now as opposed to later, definitely before 2030. You want to lock in today's low tax rates. We're in a historically low tax rate environment right now. By converting in lower tax brackets today, you could reduce the chances of your family paying a lot higher taxes later on down the road. Whether you pay a tax we can control now or a tax later on that you have no control over. So again, it controls your legacy, not the IRS. So by converting to a Roth IRA, you choose how much and when to move it, and you can reduce those required minimum distributions later because of the new Secure Act, went from 7.5 to 72, now 73 years of age. So you can pass on more tax-free to your family later. And I think that's what's so important about taking advantage now, because there's a lot of talk that by 2030, taxes are going to be a lot more than what they are right now. So you want to do as much planning as you can over the next 4 to 5 years.
And I think with all of these topics that we cover, this one especially, all the different things you've talked about with the Secure Act and the different governmental changes that come into play, we have to be paying attention to the news, but the news can also be a little bit bombarding as well. And so having an advisor by our side, such a value.
A lot of things we're talking about is you don't want to think about it. You don't want to have to dig in and think about, I'm going to pass away. Who's going to get this? Am I going to be able to leave a legacy? So what you need to do is you need to have a guide that's going to, in essence, hold your hand the whole way and guide you. This is what you need to think about here. This is what you need to think about here. This is what you need to think about and why you should convert this. Yes, you're going to pay taxes. It's going to be uncomfortable, but you're going to be a lot better on down the road doing that. And, as I mentioned, 3 things that will kill your retirement: market risk, long-term care, and taxes. So you want to make sure you plan for those all 3, even though they're very uncomfortable to do so. And that's why a guide's so important.
Okay, thanks so much. After the break, we'll share a case study that brings these ideas to life and show you how an advisor can truly make a difference, as Chad just mentioned. Stay with us. We're back right after this.
Sorry.
More is usually better, but not when it comes to taxes in retirement. Tax rates might seem high right now, but these could be the lowest rates you ever see again. Think how that could impact your retirement. The good news is there are strategies you can take advantage of now to help lower your tax bill later and help get the most out of what you've saved for retirement. But don't delay. Time is limited and rates could rise soon. So act now to get your free tax analysis. Help uncover hidden savings and optimize your income in retirement. Take action and claim your free tax analysis now.
Hi, I'm Chad Slagle. At Slagle Financial, we know retirement isn't one size fits all, and it shouldn't feel like guesswork. That's why we created our Slagle Financial GPS, a step-by-step process that helps you build a custom blueprint for retirement. Whether you're focused on protecting your income, leaving a legacy, or simply gaining peace of mind, we'll walk with you every step of the way. Don't leave your future to chance. Schedule a visit with our team and let's get you successfully to and through retirement.
Welcome back to the Chad Slagle Show. I'm Amy Sharp here with the coach, Chad Slagle, discussing the 4 pillars of a secure and impactful retirement plan. And I know that you have a case study for us on this one. So kind of walk us through this case study, Chad, and how this plan made life a little bit easier, or how this plan made life easier for this family.
Well, again, it's about planning. As I mentioned earlier, there's 3 things that will kill your retirement: market risk, taxes, and long-term care. So I think the best thing to go through is talk about the last 2. And the first thing you have to do, though, is you have to take your money and you have to separate it into 3 different buckets: the taxable bucket, the tax-deferred bucket, and the tax-free bucket. Now, how much should you put in each bucket? I would recommend that you put 6 months worth of income in that taxable bucket. That's money that you're going to need. So 6 months worth of income. So if you're used to living off of $20,000 a month, you should have $125,000 to $150,000 there. It's not the grow. It's really not going to do much of anything other than make that 2 to 3% in the money market, but it's liquid. You can get to it whenever you want. Then you have another bucket you're going to have is your tax deferred bucket. And you want to put enough money in here if you don't have a big pension to qualify for the standard deduction. A good rule of thumb is about $800,000 to $900,000 in this bucket. Everything else should be in that tax-free bucket. So if you're sitting there and you have $2 or $3 million in your retirement accounts you might need some of the money when you retire, but you don't need all of it, how can you plan for that? And how can you position your money into 3 different buckets? So we actually had a client that retired from the federal government, had a TSP plan, had $2 million sitting in his qualified account. He needed some of that money to live off of, but not all of it. So what we wanted to plan for was, how can we take as much money that he doesn't need and get that over to a Roth IRA that's tax-free and plan for long-term care before 2030. So he needed income off of that money. The good thing is his house was paid off for. His wife had a pension coming in, so they had a pretty good income. But what they needed coming in was $120,000 a year. So he needed $10,000 a month income coming in. The thing is, though, he could make all the way up to $206,700 a year and still stay in the 22% tax bracket. So that gave him $86,700 a year that he could draw out extra, convert somewhere else where eventually it's going to grow tax-free over the next 6 years, and move that money into the 3 buckets that we talked about. So by taking $86,700 a year each and every year for the next 6 years, now of course when you draw that money out, you have to pay taxes on it. Mm-hmm. So when you draw out $86,700, pay 22% in taxes, that's $19,074 that you have to pay in taxes. Also, a big concern for him was his wife's mother had to spend some time in a nursing home. So long-term care was a very big one for him and his wife. So we wanted to make sure we set enough money to the side to cover them for long-term care, around $400,000 to $500,000 worth of long-term care, which came up to about $30,000 a year over the next 5 years. So we took $30,000 and put to that. Everything else, the other $37,626 that were left after taxes and after what went into long-term care, we put that money into a Roth IRA. So we did that each and every year for the next 5 years. After 5 years, long-term care is done. It's all paid up. So if we take a look at that, we took a total of $433,500, paid 22% in taxes, $95,000, put that money into long-term care. So we had $450,000 for long-term care if they needed it, $150,000 in premiums they put in, but that $150,000 is not gone. That's going to continue to grow for them each and every year. So if they want to draw that money out, they can. But oh, by the way, if something happens, they pass away and never go to a nursing home or never need it for long-term care or only need a part of it, that $450,000 goes tax-free to their beneficiaries. And then, of course, we took the money from the Roth IRA. each and every year. We took $188,130 over 5 years, just growing at 8%, grew to be $240,000 of tax-free money. So overall, by taking $433,500, their beneficiaries now will have $700,000 of tax-free income. And that's a lot of time in our practice. We talk about looking into your taxes at a macro level, not a micro level, because that's hundreds of thousands of dollars that you save for you and your spouse, but most important of all, for your beneficiaries, and you protected yourself from the big unknown, long-term care.
That's just incredible. I love that story. And, you know, it goes back to, we were talking earlier in our last segment about the value of having an advisor by your side. Being able to work with this couple alongside them, their knowledge that they already had, really does keep them on. It's keeping a person on track more than anything.
Not only keeping them on track, but it gives me a sense of, hey, we got a game plan for you. Because the biggest thing for them, you know, he was going to retire at 62, needed some income, but didn't need all that income, but had a huge IRA that if he doesn't draw that money out, that money's just going to continue to compound and grow. And then when he turns 73, guess what's going to happen? Here comes the IRS. You got to take 4% of your money out each and every year. And every year you get older, you have to draw more and more out. So eventually, that's a huge tax bomb that him and his beneficiaries. And oh, by the way, if he passed away and he needed to go in and draw some money for long-term care, he had a pretty good nest egg. All that money that he has to draw out before he can pay the nursing home is all taxable income. So that's even more money they're going to lose before they would even think about paying for long-term care. So all of those three things were taken care of for them by just doing a little planning, being proactive, and putting themselves in an uncomfortable situation. And that's what's so important. Retirement's a scary thing. Thinking about passing away in nursing homes or even scarier things. But again, as I've said multiple times on the show, you have to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation to get to a better place.
Okay, yeah, I was actually going to say, Coach, what's your advice if someone's out there thinking right now, I want this for me, where do I begin?
You need to sit down with an advisor that has a plan, could be the financial GPS or something else. They need to look at your goals. What are your goals in retirement? How much income do you need? But most important of all, if something happens to you, plan for the worst. Where do you want this money to go and how do you want it to go? And that's what's important.
Okay. All right. Great insight as always. Thank you so much. Coming up next is the Coach's Corner, where Chad will show you why now is the time to start and how your legacy can be a gift to your loved ones. See you in a few minutes right here on our show.
In life, it's good to know what you have to work with. Knowing how many nails you have before building that birdhouse. Knowing how much sugar you have before starting to bake the cake. But do you know how much income you'll be able to count on in retirement? Retirement savings are one thing, but knowing how those savings can turn into income is another. Are you confident you know what your retirement income will look like? Call our team and get a free income analysis today. We can show you what you might expect for income in retirement. Find out now so you won't have to wonder later. Call for your free analysis today.
Retirement planning shouldn't feel like guesswork. I'm Chad Slagle, and that's why we created the Slagle Financial GPS, our step-by-step guided planning system. It's not a cookie-cutter approach, it's a customized roadmap built around your goals, designed to bring clarity to your investments, protect what matters most, and help you navigate tax and income with confidence. Take the first step, come meet our team and discover how the Slagle Financial GPS can guide you to and through retirement. Call today, your future starts now.
Welcome back to the Chad Slagle Show. This is the Coach's Corner, where we turn it over to Chad. Chad, we've talked about the tools and strategies for creating a legacy, but let's talk now about the mental and practical reasons why this can no longer wait. Take it away.
Thanks, Amy. You know, when it comes to retirement planning, one of the most misunderstood tools out there is the annuity. You've probably seen commercials or heard opinions over the years that lean on one way or the other. But the truth is, annuities are neither all good nor all bad. What really matters is understanding how they work and whether they fit into your specific plan. That's what I want to talk about today. I'll cover 3 key points that will simplify the conversation about annuities. By the time we're done, you'll feel more informed, confident, and prepared to decide if an annuity is right for you. First, an annuity is a tool, not a strategy. Think of it like a screwdriver in your toolbox. It can be extremely useful when it's applied correctly, but it's not something you pull out and use for every situation. Used the right way, an annuity can provide income protection, a way to grow your assets safely, or even solutions for long-term care and legacy planning. For example, if you're concerned about steady income in retirement, certain types of annuities can serve as a reliable source of funds you can never, ever outlive. If your goal is to protect your assets while still seeing some growth, other types of annuities can help you achieve that. And if leaving something behind for your loved ones or addressing potential long-term care expenses is a priority, there are annuities designed specifically with those goals in mind. But the key is this: an annuity alone isn't your retirement strategy. It's just one piece of the larger blueprint, and it has to fit into your overall plan. Now, my second point is the one that one size does not fit all. Not all annuities are created equal, and they won't all work the same way for different people. There are many types of annuities out there, each with its benefits and drawbacks. Some are great, some are not so great. For instance, fixed annuities can offer a guaranteed return, which is great for security, but they may not provide enough growth to keep pace with inflation. Variable annuities, on the other hand, give you the potential for more growth, but come with more risk and fees. Then there are indexed annuities, which sit somewhere in between. They allow you to benefit from some market gains while also offering a level of downside protection. The right annuity for you depends entirely on your goals, your timeline, and the level of risk that you're comfortable with. It's also important to think about the cost associated with annuities. Some come with high fees that may outweigh the potential benefits, while others are more cost effective. Without knowing what's out there and how these products work, it's easy to choose the wrong type or even pass on an option that might actually work for you. That's why understanding your own needs is so critical. And that brings me to my third point. Guidance matters more than the product itself. Choosing an annuity or deciding to skip one altogether isn't something you have to figure out on your own. A good advisor will help you understand the purpose of the annuity in the context of your specific goals. They'll explain the pros and cons and walk you through how it works and help you make a well-informed decision. You might have been to workshops or watched ads where one advisor swears by annuities and says you should put all of your money into them. Then you turn around and hear other advisors on TV saying, "I hate annuities and you should too." The problem is both of those extremes are wrong. The right answer lies somewhere in the middle. And the key is having a balanced blueprint that pulls the best from all the financial tools available. A great advisor doesn't just sell you a product, they help you understand how that product fits into your life and whether it serves your best interest. Sometimes, after reviewing your goals and circumstances, the answer might be not now, and that's okay. What matters most is having clarity and confidence in your decision. The bottom line is this: annuities are a tool that can be incredibly useful in the right situation, but there's no one-size-fits-all answer, and having the proper guidance makes all the difference. If you've been wondering whether annuity might be a good fit for your retirement plan, my team and I are here to help you. We'll sit down with you, learn about your goals, and walk you through our options using our financial GPS. And remember, folks, retirement is not the beginning of the end. It is a new beginning. Back to you, Amy.
Thank you, Chad. Powerful insights to wrap up today's show. And thank you to our viewers. Your legacy is a true gift to your loved ones, but only if you put a plan in place. So don't wait. And we'll see you next time right here on The Chad Slagle Show.